Published in 1818, Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus, by Mary Shelley, is considered one of the earliest examples of science fiction and a cornerstone of Gothic literature. It tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, a scientist who becomes obsessed with creating life and the tragic consequences that follow his success. The novel explores complex themes such as the dangers of unchecked scientific ambition, the responsibilities of creators, and the nature of humanity. Through the tragic story of Frankenstein and his creation, Shelley raises timeless questions about the limits of human knowledge, the ethics of science, and the consequences of playing God. Plot summary: framing the narrative. Walton's letters. The novel is structured as a frame narrative, beginning and ending with letters written by Captain Robert Walton to his sister, Margaret Saville. Walton is on an expedition to the North Pole when his ship becomes trapped in ice. It is during this time that he and his crew encounter Victor Frankenstein, who is near death and chasing after a mysterious figure across the frozen landscape. Walton, fascinated by Frankenstein's tale, records it in letters to his sister, framing the rest of the narrative. Walton's character, an ambitious explorer seeking knowledge and glory, mirrors Frankenstein's own quest for discovery, foreshadowing the tragic consequences of such pursuits. His narrative serves as a bridge between the reader and Victor's story, providing an external perspective on the events that unfold. Victor Frankenstein's early life. Victor Frankenstein begins his story by recounting his privileged upbringing in Geneva, Switzerland. He describes his loving parents, Alphonse and Caroline, and their adoption of Elizabeth Lavenza, an orphaned child who becomes Victor's closest companion and eventual fiancé. Victor's family life is marked by warmth and affection, which stands in stark contrast to the darkness and isolation that later envelop his life. From an early age, Victor develops an insatiable thirst for knowledge, particularly in the areas of science and philosophy. He becomes obsessed with the works of alchemists and ancient philosophers, particularly Cornelius Agrippa, Paracelsus, and Albertus Magnus. However, his father dismisses these interests as outdated, urging Victor to pursue more modern studies. This early fascination with forbidden knowledge plants the seeds for Victor's later scientific endeavors. The creation of the monster. Victor leaves Geneva to attend university in Ingolstadt, where he immerses himself in the study of chemistry and the natural sciences. His obsession with uncovering the secrets of life intensifies, and he becomes fixated on the idea of creating life from dead matter. After years of research and experimentation, Victor discovers the means to animate lifeless tissue. Fueled by his desire to transcend the limitations of nature and achieve godlike power, Victor constructs a human-like figure from body parts he has gathered. However, when he finally succeeds in bringing the creature to life, he is horrified by the result. The creature, though endowed with life, is grotesque in appearance, with yellow eyes and disfigured features. Overwhelmed with disgust and guilt, Victor abandons the creature, fleeing from his creation and falling into a state of physical and mental illness. This moment is one of the central turning points in the novel, as it marks the beginning of Victor's downfall and the creature's tragic journey of rejection and isolation. Victor's abandonment of the creature reflects his inability to take responsibility for his actions, a theme that will haunt him for the rest of the story. The creature's development and loneliness. After Victor flees, the creature is left to fend for himself, beginning a journey of self-discovery. Despite his monstrous appearance, the creature initially possesses an innocent and childlike nature. He seeks companionship, understanding, and acceptance from the world around him. However, he is repeatedly met with fear, violence, and rejection due to his grotesque appearance. The creature takes refuge in a hovel adjacent to the home of the de Lacy family, a poor but kind-hearted group of cottagers. From his hidden vantage point, the creature observes them over the course of several months, learning to speak and read by mimicking their actions and reading books he finds, including Paradise Lost by John Milton. The de Lacy family becomes a symbol of the love and companionship the creature craves, but when he finally reveals himself to them, they react with fear and violence, driving him away. This moment solidifies the creature's realization that he will never be accepted by society. In his loneliness and anguish, he confronts the harsh truth of his existence, that he is doomed to a life of isolation. His initial innocence gives way to anger and bitterness, and he vows to take revenge on his creator for bringing him into a world that offers him nothing but suffering. The creature's revenge. The creature tracks down Victor in Geneva and demands that he create a female companion for him, someone who will share his existence and alleviate his loneliness. The creature's plea is both heartbreaking and menacing, as he argues that he has a right to happiness and companionship just as any other living being does. He promises to leave humanity in peace if Victor grants his request, but he also warns that he will continue to seek vengeance if he is denied. Torn by guilt and fear, Victor reluctantly agrees to create a female creature. However, as he progresses in his work, he becomes increasingly horrified by the potential consequences of unleashing another creature into the world. Fearing that the female creature could be even more dangerous, or that the two creatures could reproduce and create a new race of beings, Victor destroys his work before completing it. This act of destruction seals Victor's fate, as it enrages the creature. In retaliation, the creature murders Victor's best friend, Henry Clerval, and later kills Elizabeth on their wedding night. These tragedies, along with the death of Victor's father from grief, drive Victor to the brink of madness. Consumed by a desire for vengeance, Victor vows to hunt down the creature and destroy him once and for all. The chase and Victor's death. Victor's quest for revenge leads him across Europe and into the icy wilderness of the Arctic, where the novel's frame narrative intersects with the main story. Victor's pursuit of the creature is a mirror of the creature's pursuit of his creator. Both are locked in a cycle of vengeance and destruction that can only end in death. As Victor recounts his tale to Walton, he expresses his deep regret for his actions and the consequences of his ambition. He warns Walton of the dangers of overreaching in the pursuit of knowledge, urging him to learn from his mistakes. However, Victor remains consumed by his desire for revenge, even as his health deteriorates. Victor dies on Walton's ship, still seeking the creature. After his death, the creature appears one final time, mourning the loss of his creator and expressing his own sorrow and regret. Despite his anger and hatred, the creature acknowledges that he too has suffered greatly as a result of Victor's actions. He declares his intention to end his own life by throwing himself onto a funeral pyre in the Arctic wilderness, bringing an end to his tragic existence. Character analysis. Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is the tragic hero of the novel, a brilliant but flawed scientist whose ambition leads to his downfall. His desire to unlock the secrets of life and achieve greatness blinds him to the ethical implications of his work. Victor's refusal to take responsibility for his creation and his failure to foresee the consequences of his actions are central to his character's tragedy. Throughout the novel, Victor struggles with feelings of guilt and regret, but he is ultimately unable to prevent the chain of events he has set in motion. His hubris, or excessive pride, mirrors that of the mythological figure Prometheus, who defied the gods by giving fire to humanity. Like Prometheus, Victor's quest for knowledge leads to his suffering and destruction. The creature, often mistakenly referred to as Frankenstein in popular culture, is one of the most complex and sympathetic characters in the novel. Though he is physically monstrous, he begins life with an innocent and compassionate nature. His descent into anger and violence is a direct result of the rejection and cruelty he faces from the world around him. The creature's desire for companionship and understanding makes him a tragic figure, as his appearance ensures that he will always be an outcast. His relationship with Victor is central to the novel's exploration of the responsibilities of creators toward their creations. The creature's demand for a companion reflects his fundamental need for love and connection, but his inability to find it leads to his transformation into a vengeful monster. Elizabeth Lavenza. Elizabeth, Victor's fiancée, represents the idealized figure of the passive and virtuous woman in the novel. She is kind, gentle, and devoted to Victor, but she remains largely a peripheral character, overshadowed by the novel's focus on Victor and the creature. Elizabeth's death at the hands of the creature is one of the novel's most tragic moments, symbolizing the destruction of innocence and beauty in the wake of Victor's actions. Captain Robert Walton. Walton serves as both the narrator and a mirror for Victor's character. Like Victor, Walton is driven by ambition and a desire for discovery as he embarks on a dangerous expedition to the North Pole. However, Walton's interactions with Victor allow him to see the dangers of unchecked ambition, and he ultimately chooses to abandon his quest for glory in order to protect the lives of his crew. In this way, Walton serves as a foil to Victor, representing a more tempered and responsible approach to the pursuit of knowledge. Themes: the dangers of unchecked ambition. One of the central themes of Frankenstein is the danger of unchecked ambition and the pursuit of knowledge without considering the consequences. Victor's obsession with creating life leads to his downfall and the destruction of those he loves. Shelley uses Victor's story to warn against the perils of overreaching in the name of progress and playing God. Responsibility and consequences. The novel explores the responsibilities that creators have toward their creations. Victor's abandonment of the creature sets off a chain of events that leads to tragedy and destruction. Shelley emphasizes the importance of considering the ethical implications of scientific discovery and taking responsibility for the consequences of one's actions. Isolation and alienation. Both Victor and the creature experience profound isolation throughout the novel. Victor isolates himself from his family and friends in his pursuit of knowledge, while the creature is alienated from society due to his appearance. This theme of isolation highlights the emotional and psychological toll of being cut off from human connection. Nature versus nurture. Shelley raises questions about the nature of humanity through the character of the creature. Though he is born innocent, the creature becomes violent and vengeful due to the way he is treated by society. This exploration of nature versus nurture suggests that human behavior is shaped by both inherent qualities and external influences.